I'm Leonard Elijah Shemtob,
And I'm Amir Araghi.
and we are
The Conscious Cup Podcast.
Just as many of you drink your coffee to get through the day, the Conscious Cup Podcast is about filling your soul with the guiding light of energy to get you through your week. And on today's show, we'll be talking about the Bhagavad Gita. And we go through the grind where we talk about upcoming events in the spiritual community, then to the main topic, filling your cup. As we mentioned, it's the Bhagavad Gita. Then to what's brewing, a peek into the current state of global consciousness, which includes news and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm. Current affairs.
Current affairs, exactly. And then and finally, to spilling the beans, where we discuss our weekly spiritual task, and we hold ourselves accountable to it, and we reflect on it, and then we have a new task that we present forward so that we can make sure we're keeping up with the learnings and the practices that we're teaching here.
For both you and us.
That's right. That's right. So with that, we ask you, what are you filling your spiritual cup with? Welcome back.
Welcome back, everyone.
Welcome back.
What a beautiful week.
We're very happy that you are with us.
Yes. Yes, we are happy to be here. Everything is beautiful. We've had a good week of weather, warmth, back to coolness.
Yes.
It's nice. It's beautiful. Hey, you know, I feel like LA, you're always a little, as soon as we get off a little bit from perfection, we always talk about the weather. So, because we only get to talk about it 15 times a year, maybe. The rest of the time it's perfect. So you're just like, oh, it's wonderful. But a little bit of a heat wave, but it's fine. Do you not think this is like the most pleasant summer we've had in a long time?
You know, it's not about out. It's all about within. And I feel like it's more pleasant inside now. So the outside is less of a issue.
So you're saying I'm more pleasant this year?
You're very much pleasant. And we want to give a special shout out to this gentleman here, Joseph. We want to let him know that we appreciate the commentaries on the tea, and we're going to be reducing it down to 1 cup each of tea, and no longer will we be drinking 8 glasses of tea during this Conscious Cup podcast. So we want to make a special message to Joseph and thank him for his critique of the tea drinking.
Father to son.
Son to father.
Son to father. Exactly. That's beautiful. How was your week?
Week is good. Had some interesting things happen. And, just trying to remember that I'm the screen, right? I'm the movie screen, and all of the actors and the depictions and the stories are going to be on the screen. And when they're done, I still remain the screen.
That's right.
The screen.
That's
Hopefully
right.
not the scream.
Yeah.
So... Anyway, we'll take a brief second to ask you to like, subscribe, and share. We appreciate you guys coming on this journey with us and drinking from your spiritual cup with us.
Yes.
At the Conscious Cup Podcast, and we're grateful for you, and we'd ask you if you could hit the like, subscribe, and share button. Sharing is big. If you share it with people, if you guys can all just share it with one person, it will take our subscribers up just a notch and allow us to spread the word. If you feel that what we're saying is valuable and helpful, then sharing it allows us to share our message, and it means the most to us. So I really appreciate that.
I definitely want to echo that, of everything. The subscriptions we love, put those reminders on for yourself too when you get the new videos, but sharing it with people is really, really important. And I'm just going to tangent on this for a second because it's interesting. This week I was listening to Joe Rogan had Hulk Hogan on. And when I was a kid, I really loved wrestling, and it was just such a fun thing, and it was really, really cool. And so I was just kind of listening it for a nostalgic kind of a thing, just to see like what Hulk Hogan is saying. It was about 3 hours long.
Wow.
2 hours into it, the conversation goes into very related stuff that we talk about here.
Interesting.
And it was so interesting to me to see somebody who is a wrestler that has gone through their own spiritual journey and come up in such a beautiful way. And why I'm bringing it up now is because this sharing it with others, you would be surprised. This consciousness is not me and Leonard or you guys or a select community. Consciousness is rising across the board. We are one body. So sharing this kind of information with other people, even people you think might not be interested, is something that I would really encourage doing, not only for the podcast, but in general. Like, open these conversations with people. You will be surprised because this has been a part of consciousness that's been repressed for such a long time. It's always been shunned. It's been looked down upon for such a long time that we are now needing to overcome it with courage, with compassion, with empathy and love and openness. And so, share it with those people. You don't even need to say anything. Just say, hey, here's something. And they could dig it, even if they don't say anything to you. So this, I really want to bring this not only for the podcast, but all of this stuff. Really share it with people, because you would be surprised at how many people are on this journey simultaneously and how quickly this message and energy is really, really spreading. So share it. It means a lot when it comes from you. To your loved ones, to the people that you care about, because they trust you. So.
Yeah, I mean, you can't force someone to change their mind, but you can never underestimate the power of planting the seed.
Exactly.
So by sharing this, you can plant that seed, and with God's help, it shall grow. If it's in their dharma, and if it's in the right path. So with that being said, let's head into the grind, and we're going to keep it brief today on the grind. We're going to talk about one spiritual event, which I think is going to be wonderful. It's on a very special day, and a special day to my father, the day he was born, on Wednesday, October 11th, at 5:45 to 10 p.m., only $25, at the Peace Awareness Labyrinth Gardens on West Adams Boulevard. And if you haven't been there, it's a wonderful place. And it's a sound bath called Sound Bath, A Sonic Journey into Who You Are. A Sonic Journey into Who You Are, presented by a meditation instructor and soundscape artist, Paul K. And it's one of the most popular events they do. Relax and let go as you allow the sound of over 20 instruments.
Nice.
20 instruments for $25 for almost a 4-hour event.
Wow.
Actually, it is a 4-hour and 15-minute event. 20 instruments for $25. I mean, it's got a dinner program from 5:45 to 6:45. The event is from 7 to 9. Refreshments from 9 to 10. I mean, Peace Awareness Labyrinth Gardens on West Adams.
Wow.
I mean, wow.
We
this
should
sounds
have
great.
We should have your dad's birthday there. Let's just invite everyone.
Dad,
and
let
go
me know
there.
if you want to go. It'd be wonderful.
That would be
It also is
awesome.
financially very nice. Everyone comes and pays only $25, and we get all that stuff. Anyway, Peace
amazing.
Labyrinth Gardens is gorgeous. Go there, enjoy it. October 11th.
Beautiful. That sounds like an awesome event. That's definitely going in the calendar for me.
All right,
Definitely going
I
in
love
the
that.
calendar. Beautiful.
Okay, and there's also going to be a meeting that you put together, Amir. It's not going to be this weekend as we were hoping.
Yes.
But it will be coming soon. This is, what is it called?
It's the monthly deep discussion
Monthly
series.
deep discussion
Yes.
series. Yeah, so that'll be happening soon, and we're looking forward to it. And if Amir's not finding a location, I'm happy to host for that.
And we got two movie nights coming up.
Yes, movie
Leonard's
night.
gonna be
I'm going to be
hosting
doing a movie
one.
night.
And that'll be announced. We also putting it out in the universe again. Doing another sound bath and breath work with Guy Douglas.
Great.
That'll likely be in late October. Confirming the date, but that's a magical
Why don't
event.
we do a
Magical
one
event.
day thing here? Let's do a 1 day thing here. We could even have him do that.
Yeah,
as
we
part of the
can-
1 day event.
We can definitely discuss
The
yeah,
last 1 day
absolutely.
event here was awesome.
Yeah, we
I
had
mean,
a really
it
good
was
time.
really great.
Really good.
So I think we
Really.
could make a 1 day event and surround it with that and bring some other things in it. Let's talk about it after this.
Sounds good.
After these messages from our sponsor. No, just kidding. We don't have a sponsor.
Chicory coffee.
Chicory coffee. What are you filling your chicory cup with?
By the way, if you guys don't know, this chicory is just awesome. It's a coffee alternative. and
Hickory
it's
dickory
caffeine.
dock.
Yeah. It tastes amazing. It looks like coffee. It's really good tasting, and it's caffeine free.
It's caffeine free. It's 80 proof.
80.
It's not. It's not.
We always drink Irish coffees, by the way.
We do not.
Yeah.
We do not. We do not. It's just a chicory replacement. My mom introduced it to me,
Yes.
and Amir loves it. And he's not a
love
big
it.
tea drinker, hot drinker. Every time I do conscious cup, man, he's just like, whatever, man. Give me a little tea, you know.
It's hot. I'm sorry. I just get hot. As you can tell, my
So
forehead
shout out to the
gets nice
chicory
and
folks.
shiny. Yes.
All right.
Awesome. Moving on to
Moving on to filling your cup, the Bhagavad Gita. So today we're going to dive into the depths of ancient wisdom and explore and see how it can transform modern life.
By the way, I was cracking up because we don't know, as if we've mentioned before, we don't know the topic. So Leonard's like, we're going to do the Bhagavad Gita. I'm like, what? Because I'm starting the class in 2 weeks on it. I was
Here
like,
you
oh,
go.
this is going to be like awesome. It'll be cool little trip down that path.
Sorry. Yes, and the disclaimer is this. This is, 30, 45 minutes. I'm going to go into this stuff, maybe more. It depends on how fast we move and how the conversation ensues. But the Bhagavad Gita is not a small thing. It's 700 verses, okay? I can't get it all done in a quick 45 minutes. I'm going to touch on things lightly. I'm going to give some good overview. I'm going to hopefully motivate you to get the book, to join Amir's class if you haven't already. And if not, to just do the homework yourself and learn about it. I took a class from Ram Dass on Living the Bhagavad Gita. I read his book, Living the Bhagavad Gita. I read the Bhagavad Gita as well. And I watched videos of him teaching from a lecture he did at Naropa University in Colorado, which is an awesome university. If you don't know about it, it's founded on Buddhism and spiritual practices. And in the 60s, I believe in the 60s or early 70s, maybe it was early 70s, like 71 or 72, Ram Dass taught a course, and it was all recorded in black and white, on Living the Bhagavad Gita, which is a book he has, which is a fantastic book. I highly recommend that. If you're going to be doing the Bhagavad Gita, you may want to do Living the Bhagavad Gita later.
Okay.
Because he goes into the specifics on how to take this information and apply it to life. Now, I'm going to give some things about that. I even have a quote from that class that I'm going to be bringing in here. But anyway, it's great. Let's get into it, right?
Let's roll.
So the Bhagavad Gita, yes, go ahead.
Go ahead. No.
The Bhagavad Gita is not just a religious book that only belongs to a certain religion. These types of things are acknowledged globally by people. And if you go into any of these kind of things, you can see that there's universal truths that resonate amongst all religions, faiths, and spiritual concepts, So it's not only like for a certain, I'm Hindu, I study the Bhagavad Gita. You can, it carries along, and it has proven itself over the what do they call it? Proving over the something time. Over time. There's a way like a over
course of time.
Course of time now. The depths of time. I don't know. Something. Put a comment below if you know what I'm supposed to say there.
It's just tying
test of time. The test of time.
Where just going back to last week's conversation, when they're truth, when something is based on truth, they last. There is nothing there that will chip away at it. So this is one of those that is obviously an ancient text. A lot of these ancient texts are rooted in truth, and it is up to your discernment to get through it, see the symbolism, and really dig into that. But the more I think we discover all of these, the more that you see, the roads are really leading to the same truth, regardless, because there is only one truth.
There's many paths up to the top of the mountain. When one gets to the top of the mountain, he realizes there's many paths up there. Yeah. But many people on the way up say there's only one path because they can only see that.
Correct.
So in that vein, the Gita is still relevant today because it is timeless. It tackles complexities of life, duty, righteousness, and in this episode, we're going to discuss the wisdom within the 700 verses in a historical context, and more importantly, how we can apply it to our lives. All right, so let's dive in. So to truly grasp the wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, we first need to understand the historical and epic backdrop. The Gita is part of an Indian epic thing called the Mahabharata. Okay, it's a monumental ancient text that's 8 times the length of the Iliad or the Odyssey combined. Yeah. Okay, that's why when he said last time, he's like, "Oh, we're going to do the Mahabharata," I was like, "Wow," because that's huge. It's going to be like a couple years probably on that one.
Yeah, we're not doing all of it. We're doing 3 of the books. Yeah, 3 of the books. The Dhammapada and the Upanishads. But the Mahabharata is gigantic.
Right. Yeah. So the Gita itself is basically a conversation, but not just any conversation, between Arjuna, a warrior prince, and Krishna, his charioteer. Arjuna is one of the main characters in the Indian epic Mahabharata, and he is a principal protagonist of the Bhagavad Gita, which is part of a larger epic, as we just mentioned. He's one of the Pandava brothers, son of King Pandu and his queen Kunti and Madri, which all that stuff doesn't really matter, but I'm just giving a little bit of context for it.
A lot of names.
Yeah, there's a lot of names, and as you guys get into it more, you'll see. But Arjuna is a highly skilled archer, he's a warrior, and he's often considered unparalleled in his abilities. Arjuna serves as every man in this text. So he serves as like a representation of every man in this text, representing the moral, emotional, and spiritual dilemmas that people face in life. His questions to Krishna cover a broad range of topics, including duty or dharma, righteousness, detachment, the nature of the universe, and the paths to God. His struggles, despite being set in the context of an ancient epic, are highly relatable and represent the moral and existential dilemmas faced by people even today. Through his dialogue with Krishna, Arjuna undergoes a transformation. He moves from a state of confusion and moral dilemma to one of spiritual enlightenment and readiness to undertake his duty without emotional hindrance. So basically at this point, Arjuna is confused and morally troubled about fighting in a war. And he converses with Krishna, who serves as his charioteer. However, Krishna is not just a regular charioteer. He is a divine incarnation of the universe itself, providing wisdom that transcends space and time. Krishna is considered a manifestation of the divine and is identified as a supreme being or God.
Yeah.
I mean, the setting is intense. They're in the middle of a battlefield known as Kurukshetra. Okay, sorry if the pronunciation isn't right, but
that's
it's
accurate.
Kurukshetra. Okay, so picture this. The air is filled with the noise of conch shells, drums, the shouts of soldiers, two massive armies lined up and ready for battle. Arjuna is paralyzed in moral dilemma. Should he fight against his own relatives, including his cousins, his teachers, and friends? This is the dilemma he's caught in. Or should he renounce and refuse and seek Krishna's counsel, which unfolds as the Bhagavad Gita?
Right.
So the message of the Gita unfolds in this dialogue. And as a reader, you get to kind of see him asking questions, him getting information, and him going through this struggle. And it speaks to us today because we have the same kind of dilemmas. And now it's not about killing someone, but we have career decisions, moral decisions, quest for spiritual wisdom. So the Gita has something for everybody.
And I just want to say this on these ancient texts. Often you will see this in many of them where they're in battle or in war, and the authors of these ancient texts go to great length to describe the amount of noise and destruction and sounds and imagery and all of that. And it's really, really important because this is where this is starting off with. And I just want to take one quick moment. I don't know if you're going to discuss it. I just wanted to point it out that this is symbolically significant because what this means is that they're in the midst of a lot of noise, right? And noise means everything around you that is going on. So often it's done in the context of war because war is that moment. The adrenaline's pumping, you're into survival mode. So see the depth of this, and that's why I wanted to pause here, because the depth of this is telling you that it's coming from such a space that the authors are recognizing that it's in that moment of chaos that this conversation needs to go on.
It's actually, yes, and to add to that, it's the chariot comes in and lands in the middle of the battlefield.
Correct. Yep.
And it's like right there that all this stuff is happening. So, all right, so we've set the stage. Now let's delve into the teachings and the philosophies that give this a timeless message. So the Kurukshetra battlefield isn't just a physical setting. It's a symbolic space where good and evil, right and wrong, duty and desire clash. Think about it as a mirror reflecting your own moral and ethical dilemmas. Arjuna's chariot is positioned between the two armies, and he sees familiar faces on both sides. Teachers, family members as friends. This is where the rubber meets the road, where theory becomes practice. And it's in this spot of indecision that many of us find ourselves at various points in our life. Mm-hmm. So when Arjuna hesitates and considers turning away from the battlefield, it's not just a warrior's dilemma, it's every person's dilemma. Should I engage with the challenges before me, even when they involve discomfort and difficult choices? This is the I can't get this word right. The existential question that Gita confronts head on. Existential. Say it 3 times. Existential. Okay, I got it now. It's in my book. It's like toot in there now. All right. Existential.
It's hard to read if you close your eyes and say it. It comes out easier.
All right. Now I just lost my space. All right. So Here we go. So the concepts of dharma and karma, these are big inside this. This is pretty much what it's about here. So I'm going to go into the different concepts in this text and kind of break them down for us. Concepts of dharma and karma. So at the heart of the Gita, there's two concepts that govern not just Hindu philosophy, but also offer a universal outlook. It's called dharma and karma. Dharma is often understood as duty or righteousness. It's not just about what we like or what we want, but what must be done.
Right.
That's why they say it's important for you to follow your dhamma or your dharma. And Arjuna's dharma is to be a warrior, just like it might be someone's dharma to be a teacher, a parent, or a leader. But dharma doesn't operate in a vacuum. It's closely tied to the concept of karma, which most of us understand as action and its consequences. Okay, I know there's a lot of hang-ups about it, but let's just keep it simple for now. Karma is action and consequences. If I take an action and I throw this cup at Amir's head and it breaks and he gets upset, there's going to be a consequence. It could be blood on his forehead. He could reach over and strangle me. There's going to be a consequence.
Comment on why this conversation came up in Leonard's. I'm just kidding.
This is for all the fushes you gave me before we started.
Oh, boy.
All right. So action and consequences, okay? But karma in the Gita goes deeper. It's actions aligned with Dhamma, performed without attachment to his results. Okay, so this is the big key. It's action aligned with Dhamma or Dharma, performed without attachment to its results. Krishna tells Arjuna that he has the right to perform his duty, but not to the fruit of his actions. Essentially, it's all about doing the right thing without being attached to what comes out of it, be it a success or failure. And you're going to hear this theme over and over again,
Correct.
okay? This can be liberating when you think about it. It's about living a life fully, but without being enslaved by the outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
And that, my friends, is a message that's relevant today as it was 1,000 years ago. Okay, these teachings are the backbones of the Gita's philosophy. As we proceed, we will look at how these ancient guidelines are more than just dogma, but they're actionable insights for fulfilling life. Okay, so before we go further, I want to just talk a little bit about that concept, right? When we're so attached to the outcome, really it's because we're sitting in either desire or fear. Now, we've talked about this before, and Nisargadatta Maharaj, pretty much his whole book is about moving beyond desire and fear, so you can look him up, and I think we have a podcast about it. But when we remove the attachment to the outcome, then we can be in a place that allows us to do our Dhamma properly.
Correct. And I would even push it further and say just remove attachment with whatever it is, right? Even attachment to the action is the result.
Well, you're getting ahead of us now. That's part of the equation.
It's really, really important with all of these, because the attachment as a whole, when you're attached to a desire, I'm going to stay with where you are. So if to an outcome, excuse me, I misspoke. If you're attached to an outcome, instantaneously what that's doing is it's putting you in a linear mode of time, meaning that there is a future time that immediately removes your presence in what it is right away. Because then it's, that. No, there isn't that. It's just this. It's just now. There is no that. That is the fallacy of duality. Sorry.
Well said. The golden present. So I have a quote here from that class I told you I took from Ram Dass about finding your Dhamma or your Dharma, okay? Because that's a question we could have. It's like, okay, I'm supposed to follow my Dharma, but how do I find what's my Dharma? For Arjuna, it was to be a warrior. Well, I don't know. I'm doing 5-6 different things right now. I'm doing a podcast. I'm a businessman. I'm a dad. I'm this. I'm that. Like, how do I find my Dhamma?
Can I ask you a question? I wanted to ask you this question the first time, and now that it came up again, don't you think everything is a class of warrior?
Everything is a class of warrior?
Meaning, no matter what you are, a teacher, a guide, a soldier, whatever it is, that on some basic level, it is an act of being a warrior.
Okay, well, I hear you, and I agree. I would say warrior.
No, I'm just asking. Yeah,
I would say that the term warrior can be not so appropriate, I think, because people have a view of a warrior as someone who's doing a destructive act. He's fighting. Warriors usually fight. But I don't think that's what you mean, but you can clarify. I think that all those things have a path. And I think the warrior is really just an assimilation to somebody who's going down that path. So a warrior goes down the path to win, but really it's not about trying to go down the path to win, but it is about going to bat. So if you're a teacher, you have your path and you have your evolution. You need to be evolving. So all of us, whatever position it is, if you're a butcher, right, or you're a janitor, or you're a president of a corporation, you have your path. And I think that's where it's like you're a warrior, but in essence, it's more about just being someone who's dedicated to growing and evolving.
Beautiful. That's what I wanted to clarify.
Okay.
That every single, going back to the conversation, it really is about true power and courage, regardless of what you're doing, regardless of what it is. That's why I think so many of these ancient texts specifically talk about warrior, because it is the warriorness within everybody. And again, what Leonard said is really, really important. Warrior is not a soldier who has a gun or a spear or whatever in their hand. It's the warrior spirit within you, meaning that you're courageous and you stand for the light in all circumstances.
Beautiful. All right, so here's what Ram Dass said about the Dhamma or Dharma. Instead of always preoccupying ourselves with trying to get what we think we want or need, we'll start to quiet. We'll start to listen. We wait for the inner prompting. We'll try to hear rather than decide what it is we should do next. And as we listen, we'll hear our Dharma more and more clearly. And so we'll begin tuning more and more of our acts to that place of deeper wisdom. As that happens, all of our fascination with our roles and our plans and our desires and our melodramas will begin to fall away. More and more, we will open ourselves to just being the instrument of the Dharma. And then we'll discover that we've lost our lives and found them. And then we will discover that we've lost our lives and found them.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Hold space at the beginning is what he's saying, and it will come to you. Get rid of the noise, and the Dharma will come to you.
All right, so here's some quotes from the Gita on Dharma and karma, etc. So here's one. It's better to fail in one's Dharma, it's better to fail in one's own Dharma than to succeed in the Dharma of someone else.
Beautiful.
The verse emphasizes the importance of staying true to your own path or duty, even if you fall or fail at it, rather than succeeding at someone else's path. It underscores the idea that fulfillment lies in doing one's own duty. Here's another quote. One's own duty, even if devoid of merit, is preferable to another duty well performed. Another quote from the Gita. Neither in this world nor elsewhere is there any happiness in store for him who always doubts. The quote emphasizes the role of faith in one's duty. Doubt can paralyze action and lead to unhappiness, hindering the fulfillment of one's Dharma. Okay, let's go to karma quotes. You have a right to perform your prescribed duties, but you are not entitled to the fruits of your actions. This foundational teaching advises us to focus on our actions, our karma, without being attached to the outcomes. It promotes the idea of detached action. Here's another one. Action is the product of qualities inherent in nature. What do you get from that one? Action is the product of the qualities inherent in nature.
It just unfolds the way that it is. Meaning nature is within nature of all things. It just unfolds that way, unequivocally, if you get out of the way or give it space, whichever the description you want to
right.
call
On
it.
a high side, there's that, and on the low side is you can be influenced. Your action can be influenced by your nature and not the nature of the universe. Right. So when you're in alignment with the universe,
Okay,
right?
see.
I'm with you. That's the where you want to get to.
Yeah.
You want to get to the place where you're in alignment with the universe and you're flowing in harmony, right? And you are doing your dharma because that's what's coming forward.
Right.
But if we're not there, right, we generally our actions are influenced by our lower minded nature. And that could be the nature that's seated in desire and wants. And then what we do is we create actions or karma that create reactions,
Correct.
which come back and it's
Right.
not so great. They call it karmuppins. Your karmuppins come and you're like, holy moly, what is this? I don't want a burnt burger. I didn't want a burnt burger. It's like, well, you put the burger in the fire for a long time. What did you expect?
Well, it goes back to what do you see yourself as, right? Again, if you see your nature as something that is separative and fragmented and individualized and any of the words that you scarce, whatever it is,
Sure.
then you're going to act based on your nature, what you believe to be your nature, not your true nature.
All right, here's another quote. Work done with selfish motives is inferior by far to the selfless acts of karma yoga. Therefore, to be a karma yogi, O Arjuna, those who seek to enjoy the fruits of their work are very unhappy. Those who seek to enjoy the fruits of their work are very unhappy. Why is that? Because if they're seeking to enjoy the fruits of their work, then they're attached to the outcome.
Exactly.
And thus they're working from a place of desire and fear, and thus they're having expectations that they're going to be happy from the results, and the cycle continues.
Correct.
All right. The one who is motivated only by the desire for the fruits of their action and anxious about the results is miserable indeed. That one speaks for itself. Even a leaf or a flower or water or fruit given to me with love and pure heart is accepted by me from the devotee. It's nice, right? All right, last quote. Therefore, Arjuna, surrendering all your works onto me with full knowledge of me, without desires for profit, with no claims of proprietorship, or free from lethargy, fight. Krishna encourages Arjuna to act according to his dharma as a warrior, but to do so without attachment to the fruits of his actions, embodying the essence of both dharma and karma.
Beautiful. Okay.
We got that down.
Yeah.
All right, now let's head to the paths to liberation. So the Gita also talks about the paths to liberation, okay? It doesn't present a one-size-fits-all solution. Instead, it lays out multiple paths to spiritual liberation, recognizing that each one of us has a unique disposition and a set of circumstances. So the first one that they provide, which we've kind of been talking about, is karma yoga, the yoga of action. Now, this isn't about twisting your body into a pretzel. Yoga here means a disciplined path. Karma yoga teaches that we can find spiritual growth through selfless action, aligning our deeds with our dharma without being attached to the fruits. Okay? So the principles of karma yoga are selfless action, which we've talked about, dharma, which we talked about, or duty, equanimity, maintaining equanimity in success and failure as a cornerstone of karma yoga. This even-minded approach helps in focusing on the task at hand rather than worrying about the results. So keeping that equanimous mind, the mind that is at peace.
Correct.
And how do you get there? You can do meditation, you can focus on your breath, you can do mantra, you can just have done the work and know that desire and fear isn't what it's about, and you can come from that place of quietness where you're hearing your dharma. So here's some quotes from the Bhagavad Gita that line up with karma yoga. We have a person who's an adept in the division of labor and is free from all attachment, even though engaged in all kinds of work, does not become entangled. Want me to say that again? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. A person who's an adept in the division of labor and who is free from all attachment, even though engaged in all kinds of work, does not become entangled.
You are the eye of the storm.
Okay, so let's apply karma yoga to our professional life.
Or going back to the Bhagavad Gita, you are Arjuna when you are speaking with, I just forgot the name.
Krishna?
Krishna. When in that moment where there's all of this chaos and confusion going on, that's the lack of entanglement. He is having this conversation in the midst of the battlefield. What I want to be really clear when I say battlefield, you're not fighting against anything. The idea of the battlefield, again, is just there's a lot of noise. There's a lot of chatter. There's a lot of quote-unquote distraction. That's why I said it's the eye of the storm, because everything is going on. When you're caught up,
calm, yeah.
when you're in it, then it's chaos, right? It's, oh my God, everything is spinning. What am I going to do? And there's no judgment, but all of us know those kind of people, right? When you talk to them, it's immediately frantic story. All the time. It's just, I did this and this happened and then this, can you believe it? And then, like, yeah. And it's funny because if you go on vacation with these type of people, after a while, they kind of start to tune down because there's no audience for it. You're like, no, I was next to you and nothing happened. So all we want to do is just get to the eye of the storm. All of this stuff is going on, but you're totally in peace. At some point, by the way, that storm will also go away when you're in the eye of the storm.
Right. So let's apply the karma yoga lifestyle to modern life. So in your professional life, for example, in the work setting, karma yoga can be interpreted by giving your best efforts in your job without being overly concerned about praise, promotion, or criticism. In relationships, it can mean loving unconditionally without expecting anything in return.
Beautiful.
For personal development, it signifies the importance of the journey, the actions and learnings over the destination.
Yeah.
So learning is more important than getting to somewhere, right? There's the old adage of the guy who says he goes into into a temple and talks to the head monk and says, "How long will it take me to get enlightened?" And the guy says, "Well, if you do your practices, your meditations, your this, your that, it could take anywhere from 20 to 30 years." And he says, "Okay, how about and how many hours would I have to meditate for that?" He goes, "Well, you meditate about 6 hours a day." He goes, "Well, how about if I meditate 12 hours a day? Will I be able to do it faster in 20 to 30 years? Because if you meditate that much, it'll take you about 60 to 80 years." That's that.
Attachment.
So ethical decisions, and this is where really the rubber meets the road. Karma Yoga provides a framework for ethical decision-making, encouraging individuals to act according to what is right rather than what might be personally beneficial. So in summary, Karma Yoga presents a way to live life meaningfully, ethically, providing a framework for turning every action into a step towards spiritual growth and to the ultimate liberation. As Ram Dass says, "So the Karma Yogi is the person who uses his or her life to come to God by listening for the dharmic act, acting without attachment to the outcome, all while knowing he or she is not the actor." Mm-hmm. That's the second part. Mm-hmm. That's the whole formula for turning our lives around and making them our spiritual practice. So I'm going to read that second part of that quote that Ram Dass says. And again, that's from the class I took as well. So the Karma Yogi is the person who uses his or her life to come to God by listening for the dharmic act, acting without attachment to the outcome, all while knowing he or she is not the actor anyway.
Okay.
That's the whole formula for turning our lives around and making them our spiritual practice.
Beautiful.
All right. Now let's go to the second path to liberation, Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti. Now, Bhakti Yoga.
Some of these words are just fun to say.
Bhakti Bhakti is actually from the Sanskrit root. Since you love the word, I'll bring this up. Bhaj, which means to adore or worship. Okay, this is for those who are emotionally inclined. It focuses on forming a deep, loving connection with the divine. And don't think it's just about sitting in a temple all day. You can practice bhakti in the way you interact with the world and the people around you, because everyone is God, right?
Yep.
Bhakti Yoga, therefore, the path of devotion is a path of devotion to the divine. It advocates for a personal relationship with God expressed through love, devotion, and surrender.
Beautiful.
So Ram Dass, for example, used to keep pictures of all of his, and I have it too. It's called a puja table. A puja table is like a prayer table. And on that table, you have pictures of your gurus, of people that you want to express your love, that you feel your love with. It could be Christ, it could be Krishna, it could be Buddha, it could be, for example, I have all my teachers on my puja table. Puja means prayer table. Now, what's interesting is what Ram Dass is he put at the time he put the attorney, not the attorney general, the secretary, who's in charge of all the military stuff for the government. What's their position?
Secretary of State.
Yeah. So Ram Dass at that time put the picture of the Secretary of State on his puja table, and people would say, "This guy, like, why is he on your puja table?" And it's like, because he's God too, and he wanted to open up his heart, even to that person who he was felt was doing not so good things in the world.
That's right.
So the principles,
very important.
It's very neat, right? So the principle, and there's things called Bhakti Fest. There's a Bhakti Fest you can go to. It's actually coming up on September 15th. That's an event. I should have brought that up.
That's cool.
Yeah, there's a Bhakti Fest happening on September 15th. And, the Bhakti folks, they're the ones who like to do kirtan. Kirtan is where they do singing and chanting. They get together and they sing the names of God. It's beautiful. Yes, that's kirtan.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's wonderful. And I've participated in kirtan. I've gone to kirtan things. I did kirtan for New Year's a couple years ago with my uncle in Topanga Canyon with some of these folks, Govinda Das, and they sing, and it's beautiful. And you're basically just singing the name of God in many different ways, and expressing your love and devotion and doing bhakti. This is what bhakti is about, and that's the Bhakti Yoga.
Oh, cool.
That's
cool.
So here's the principles of the tenets of Bhakti Yoga. So you have love and devotion. We have surrender. Bhakti Yoga often involves surrendering one's will to God, trusting the divine will guide the way. Surrender is not a form of escapism, but a deep trust and detachment from the ego. The people who are doing on Bhakti Yoga, they really trust the Creator and His creation. They really do. They say, well, if it's in the hands of the Creator, all things will be done in the hands of the Creator. Excuse me. It's really, you can feel it. You can feel the love. They surrender and they love the Creator so much that they're really in unison with his love, and they want to love him so much. And Hanuman, who's the monkey, that was basically the monkey of Krishna or God, and he would say, you know, at one point, and I'm gonna do my best to tell this story off the cuff, and it's one I haven't heard in a long time. So anyway, I'm gonna do my best with it. So this monkey was devoted and dedicated to God and to Krishna, and would say, and one day he had done so much work that God, you know, he said, I want you to be me. I want you to join me now and be part of me. And he said, I love my dedication to you so much that I don't want to become part of you. I will forever be dedicated to you. I want to continue being dedicated to you. Because that's how much he loved the act of bhakti.
It's beautiful.
Okay, going on. So another aspect of bhakti yoga is personal God. In bhakti yoga, the God is often approached as a personal deity with qualities, forms, and narratives. Through the ultimate aim remains to realize the formless, infinite nature of the divine. Daily practices such as prayer, chanting, or meditation on the chosen deity, and participation in spiritual gatherings called satsang or kirtan, as I mentioned. Okay, so here's some quotes from the Bhagavad Gita about bhakti yoga. To those who are constantly devoted and who worship me with love, I give the understanding by which they come to me. My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without devotion, My dear Arjuna, O winner of wealth, if you cannot fix your mind upon me without deviation, then follow the regulated principles of bhakti yoga. This way, develop a desire to attain me. And the application in modern life for bhaktis who want to bring that practice to their, modern acts. Practice bhakti can be done with mindfulness and presence, cultivating a sense of mindfulness and presence, helping one to engage fully in every moment of the divine. Emotional resilience, the sense of surrender and faith can help you navigate challenges with greater emotional resilience, secure in the belief that the higher power guides the way. True surrender. Community bhakti practices often involve community worship and offer that sense of belonging and support. Mental health practices like chanting and meditation are known to have various mental health benefits, such as stress reduction and living longer. For example, Joe Dispenza did a study where he took about 30 people and they went to a home in Palm Springs, and what they measure is the telomere caps, which is back here, and they're able to measure the telomere caps, and the length of the telomere cap is able to dictate how long people live. And for the people who did complete the meditation, I think it was like 26 out of 30 people did 30 days in a row. They actually saw the telomere caps grow. That's right. By practicing that, you can actually live longer and reduce stress. Ethical living practices of love and devotion and bhakti extend to all beings, encouraging ethical and compassion to all living beings. So bhakti yoga offers a path to spiritualization through love and devotion, enabling individuals to transcend the ego, realize their innate divinity. Its teachings are highly accessible and can be integrated into daily life regardless of your background or daily system. There's people who are, love Jesus and
regardless, it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
Doesn't matter.
All right, and last but not least, in this path to liberation, we have what's called jnana yoga. Okay, the path of wisdom and knowledge. This path involves deep self-inquiry, contemplation, to understand the nature of reality, and particularly appealing to intellectual types. Yeah, jnana yoga is one of the major paths to spiritual liberation discussed in the Bhagavad Gita. The term jnana is derived from the Sanskrit root jnana, meaning to know, from gnosis, right? Jnana, gnosis. The Gnostics were those who knew.
The ones who know.
Yeah, therefore, jnana yoga is the yoga of knowledge or yoga of wisdom, and it involves an intellectual and philosophical inquiry into the nature of reality, the self, and the universe. This is something that I would say I practice more of in my work, that I study so much spiritual stuff, because I want to use the mind to overcome the mind, learning all these things. So one of the biggest practices of jnana yoga is self-inquiry. I'm sure you guys have heard of self-inquiry, aham vichar. Yeah. It's one of the most important aspects. It's known as atma vichara. It involves questioning the nature of one's true self and differentiating it from the body, mind, and ego. So for those who were doing the class with us here, when I did that meditation after the break, it was really kind of down that road of seeing who you are and who you're not. Knowledge of scriptures is another tenet of this path. Systematic study of sacred texts, philosophical doctrines. This can include the Upanishads, the Vedas, and other philosophical writings. Also, meditation and contemplation. This is meditation, but also done with a contemplation to internalize the intellectual understandings and transforming them into direct knowledge and experiential knowledge, not just,
Right.
detachment.
Ethereal. Yeah.
Right. Detachment. This path often requires a certain level of detachment from the worldly pleasures and sufferings, not as a form of escapism, again, but as a means to a focus on the higher reality. I remember I called my spiritual teacher maybe a year ago, and I called him and I said, okay, Scott, I'm buying sneakers still. I'm buying sneakers. Like, I know all about all this stuff, but I'm buying sneakers again and again. Like, I'm buying less than I used to, but I'm still buying them.
Right.
I go, what should I do? Should I make a hard rule that I just don't buy them anymore? And he goes, absolutely not. You don't make a hard rule. He goes, are you doing your practices? I go, yeah. He goes, you're meditating, you're studying, you're doing the things that you love doing that are on the spiritual path. I go, yes, I'm doing them. And he says, okay, well, it will naturally fall off on its own.
That's right. Because if you force it off, it creates a void, and that void will get filled with something else.
Discrimination is another tenet. The practice of viveka. This involves distinguishing between what is eternal and what is transient, aiming to align oneself with the eternal.
I
All
would
right. Go ahead.
change the word to discernment, but yeah.
Well, this is from the book.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Relevant quotes regarding the Jnana or Jnana Yoga. In this world, there is nothing so sublime and pure as transcendental knowledge. Such knowledge is the mature fruit of all mysticism.
Beautiful.
That which is neither gross nor minute, neither short nor long, which is unborn, imperishable, without form, without qualities, and without fault, that, they say, is knowable. Want that one again?
That's fantastic. No, I think that's
Okay.
clear. That's beautiful.
All right, now let's talk about some critical thinking, which is part of the Jnana Yoga. It encourages, so this is what the applications of life, right? So now you've got this path, you're doing this path, and how do you apply it in your modern life? Critical thinking. You are, this encourages analyzation and critical questionings. These are valued in modern society. When you look at things, we talk about do your research, right? It's not just about that, but do your research on the whole thing, right? Focus on what question what is what, so that you can see what reality really is and not what it's said to be. Mindfulness. The practice of self-inquiry can be seen as a form of mindfulness, bringing awareness to one's thoughts, actions, and the world around. Ethical living, stress reduction, spiritual fulfillment. For those who are intellectually inclined, Jnana Yoga offers a pathway to spiritual realization that aligns with their analytical nature. Jnana Yoga is rigorously intellectual path that seeks to understand the nature of reality through knowledge and wisdom. It involves philosophical inquiry, meditation, ethical conduct as a means to achieve spiritual liberation. It appeals to those who are naturally inclined toward intellectual pursuits and are interested in diving deep into questions about existence and consciousness. Okay? So whether you're a selfless activist, a nurturer, or a thinker, the Gita has a path for you. You could even mix and match these according to your situations you find yourself in. The point is the Gita gives you the tools, and how you use them is up to you. So let's go into detachment and duty. How are we doing on time?
No clue.
I have no clue either.
How much? Right. Well, let me ask you, how much do you have left? You have a lot left?
No, not a lot.
Okay.
Medium.
Okay.
A crucial teaching in the Gita is the concept of nishkama karma, or performing one's duty without any desire for the outcome. This is a revolutionary idea, especially in today's result-oriented world.
That's right.
I was in sales. They used to say, we don't want to hear anything but the number. Put the number in the box. I don't care how much prospecting you did, how many phone calls you made, how many appointments you went on. I want to know how many sales you did and just put it in the box. That's the whole thing.
That's right.
They don't want to hear the story,
Yeah.
right? It's so opposite. It's so opposite of what we're talking about here.
Correct, because it's an external versus an internal conversation.
Imagine doing your job not for the paycheck, but because it's your duty. Imagine studying not for the grades, but for the knowledge.
Mm-hmm.
This is the essence of nishkama karma, taking the right action because it's the right thing to do and letting go of the obsession of what is the outcome.
Beautiful.
And it's not just about abandoning the world and running off to the Himalayas, although you could do that if you wanted. It's about engaging in the world fully. while not letting the world own you,
That's
right?
right.
What did Jesus say?
That's
Be
right.
in this world, but not of it.
Yeah.
It's about understanding that success and failure are two sides of the same coin, and that what truly matters is the integrity and the intention behind our actions. Detachment in the Gita's view is not an indifference, but the ultimate form of engagement. This might sound challenging, but once you grasp it, it's incredibly liberating. It frees you from the roller coaster of highs and lows, success and failures, and allows you to find stability in the chaotic world, or as Amir said, it allows you to be the eye of the storm or at peace in the noise.
That's right.
Okay, a person can rise through the efforts of his own mind, a quote from the Gita, a person can rise through the efforts of his own mind or draw himself down in the same manner, because each person is his own friend or enemy. One who neither hates nor desires the fruits of his activities is known to always be renounced. Okay, we've covered some heavy but immensely valuable topics so far. Each of these teachings can be life-altering if we take the time to understand them and actually apply them.
Yeah.
But hang on, we're not done. There's more, but there's more.
Wait, there's more.
But wait, there's more. Order now and get a free cup with my dad's face on it. All right. Vision of a cosmic form. So this is a cool little part of the Bhagavad Gita I wanted to bring to the table. So there's a revelation of Krishna's cosmic form known as the Vishvarupa. It occurs in the Bhagavad Gita during the Mahabharata War. It's a monumental event that takes place in chapter 11, which is aptly named the vision of the cosmic form. So in this part of the story, the warrior prince requests Krishna, his charioteer, to guide him and to show him the universal form. Krishna grants him the request, but warns Arjuna that his human eye cannot bear the sight. So Krishna gives him divine eyes to perceive the majestic form. When Krishna reveals his Vishvarupa, Arjuna sees countless faces, eyes, and divine ornaments. He witnesses divine weapons, flaming mouths, and endless wonders, all fused into one gigantic cosmic form that encompasses the entire universe. He sees past, present, future events all occurring simultaneously. The sight is so overwhelming that it includes both awe-inspiring beauty and terrifying manifestations of cosmic power, like a myriad of blazing suns and skies at once.
He sees all.
Arjuna realizes the sheer magnitude of Krishna's divine form and understands that he is the eternal cosmic being who transcends space and time. He sees warriors on both sides of the battle being annihilated in Krishna's flaming mouth, underscoring the inevitability of life and death and the futility of his moral dilemma about fighting in the war.
Beautiful.
However, the vision becomes too intense and too terrifying for Arjuna and requests Krishna to revert his eyes back to the human form. Krishna complies, reassuring Arjuna and emphasizing that the cosmic vision is exceedingly rare and granted only to those with unwavering devotion. One of the most awe-inspiring moments in the Gita is when Krishna reveals his cosmic form.
Beautiful.
He sees the countless faces and perceives the infinite. Now, it's not the special effects I'm showing here to impress that are made to impress Arjuna, but the cosmic form is symbolic. It shows that the divine is beyond human comprehension, that it's not limited to any form or concept. It's a humbling reminder of our place in the grand scheme of things.
Yeah.
For us, the vision can be a metaphor for those moments in life when we get glimpses of something greater than ourselves, whether it's through nature, love, or any experience that makes us stop and think, wow, the universe is so much bigger than my problems.
That's right.
This revelation doesn't minimize our problems, but puts them in perspective. It can be empowering to know that we're part of something much larger, and yet each of us has an important role to play within it.
That's right. I always use this example where I say, because it resonates on a physical level, right? When you're walking down the street and you see ants, it's very, not a big deal, right? That ant is going through things. He's carrying this thing all the way from this point to that point. He's in the middle of it. You're looking down on it, not a big deal. You see a 5-year-old who is crying because they didn't get juice. Not a big deal. You move right past it. You're in the middle of the 405 and now you're late for a meeting. The world's a terrible place. Now, physically, why I keep using these examples, now, if you're flying over the 405, even if there's that much traffic, not really much happening. So why I use this example, because even physically, as you are physically looking at things at a higher perspective, the problems begin to dissolve.
Yes.
And what that does is what I want to bring to that is that when your perspective shifts to a quote unquote higher level, the problems below begin to dissolve. At some point, you will realize that the problems are always dissolving. It is just your attachment to it that creates the problem, nothing else that exists. So this physically works, and it works in a ethereal level, on an energetic level. And please remember this. What do you do when you see a 5-year-old cry? You obviously have empathy, and you never look down upon it. You never look down upon it, because as soon as you think you're looking down on something, you're all the way at the bottom. These things occur on all levels. Take your perspective to a point where the problems begin to dissolve. It's all up to you. All of it's always up to you.
Perfect. So we'll move on. You covered the rest of what I was going to say there.
Sorry.
That's great. So we'll go to the next part, which is surrender, which is really important. And we could do a whole episode on it. And we actually probably will.
Definitely.
But I want to cover the Bhagavad Gita's
surrender
information about surrendering. So the theme of surrendering to Krishna comes to head in chapter 18, towards the end of the text. After listening to Krishna's extensive teachings on duty, action, detachment, and the nature of the universe, Arjuna starts to internalize these lessons, and Krishna then encourages him to surrender his will completely. And the quote is, "Abandon all varieties of religion and just surrender unto me. I shall deliver you from all sinful reactions. Do not fear." In this pivotal verse, Krishna essentially tells Arjuna to let go of all of his confusions, fears, and anxieties, and to surrender fully to the divine will. Krishna promises to take care of Arjuna, freeing him from all the sins and fears. The idea here is not to abandon our duty or action, but to perform them with the full devotion and surrender to the divine, free from personal attachments, desires, and specific outcomes. By surrendering to Krishna, Arjuna is not just giving up. Rather, he's aligning himself with the higher spiritual purpose that transcends his immediate moral and emotional dilemmas.
Beautiful.
The moment of surrender signifies a transformation for Arjuna. He moves from a state of confusion and moral dilemma to one of clarity and purpose, guided by his faith and surrender to Krishna. And it is in this state of surrender that Arjuna finds the strength to rise, pick up his bow, and prepare for battle, fulfilling his duty as a warrior without being burdened by the doubt or emotional conflict. The concept of surrender to a higher power has been a cornerstone in many spiritual and religious traditions, often symbolizing the ultimate act of faith, devotion, and letting go of the ego. This teaching from the Bhagavad Gita continues to resonate widely, offering a profound lesson in truth and faith and transformative power of surrender. So, as we wrap up, a couple points to knock in the noggin. Okay, you like that? Knock in the noggin? First, align your actions with your dharma and your duty. Second, act without attachment to the results.
Result, to the reward, to the goal, to whatever word that you want.
And third, realize that there are various paths to spiritual liberation. Choose the one that aligns with your nature.
Beautiful.
So whether you're a spiritual teacher, seeker, or someone just looking for guidance in the complexity of life, the Gita has something to offer. It's a book you can read many times, and each time you'll find something that resonates with you. You can sign up now for Amir's class for just XYZ amount of money. You'll have a class on Tuesday night. He'll get into it. I was doing the trailer for his class here without him even knowing it. And it's on Tuesday nights.
Tuesday nights. That was awesome, man. This guy just covered something that is like, bravo to you. Something that is so challenging. It's so big. And the fact that you covered it that beautifully and that intensely is like, high five to you. Low five, high five, whatever we want.
Cheers.
That was awesome. That
Thank
was
you, buddy.
fantastic. That was really, really well done. Organized and thought out, and brought really multiple different angles and quotes. That's very well done. Bravo to you. Really, really nice.
I appreciate
really,
it.
really
I'd
nice.
love to hear that.
Our cups are full and empty at the same time. That's what the Bhagavad Gita is, right? It is empty and still full simultaneously. It's in a state of paradox. So that's beautiful. That was awesome. That was really, really cool. I want to mention a couple of things. Just they're a little bit tangential, but
Tangential. I like that.
Gentle, excuse me. Is that how you say it?
It's
I'm
like transcendental, but it's on a tangent.
Yes.
Tangent-dental.
Tangent-dental is not a word then, but hey, look, we can make up
I
words.
think it works. I think it works.
Tangentially, that's what I wanted to say. So it's really interesting because before I was familiar with the Bhagavad Gita, I always was attracted to this one channel who I'm going to shout out now. Her name is Witeke Kolhoff, and she channels a being called Arjun. And I so resonated with her and the energy that existed and all that. She's awesome. The channel's energy is awesome. And she's on YouTube if you want to look her up. And so you know when you don't know things and then you make the connections and you're like, wow, this is so cool.
Yeah.
Another thing with her was also she says that Arjun is from an entity or from a group of being called the Yael. Which in Hebrew, I believe, is like the ascended ones or something like that. So that's really, really interesting. And the last thing I want to say that's so cool about the Bhagavad Gita is that the Bhagavad Gita is actually sung. It's melodic. Do you know? Have you heard it? Actually, it's really it's a melodic verse that is created, and so for those who know Sanskrit, it's like a song, like they read it as a song. And so Bhagavad Gita, the meaning of it is it's the song of the divine. Gita is the song. Beautiful. Bhagavad is of the divine. Yes. So, or the chosen one specifically, that's what it means. So it's so beautiful to see that because in so many of these, again, ancient texts, you see this idea of song. It's almost like a melodic energy that is coming. And most of us have that resonance. Like you see that even when you feel divinity, you almost feel it in a song. It's kind of this melodic energy that kind of comes to you. So kudos to Leonard for giving us a lot of melody right now in a very clean and compact way. That was well
and if
done.
you like this, please subscribe. Please like, please share, please leave a comment.
Yeah.
Tell me what you think.
Yeah.
I appreciate you guys listening. Really do.
Yeah, that was awesome.
And these type of things help me to tune up again, because like I did that class maybe a year and a half ago, and I haven't gone back to it after that. So like by doing this, it's called Learn Teaching and Teach Learning.
That's right.
The raw material talks about that, but it's like this is a great opportunity for me to like, when we do these things, I got to pull it together. I got to think about what am I going to talk about. So all week it's in my head, like what am I going to talk about? How do I want to deliver it? Like, and then I have to put it all together and bring it. And that act is a great way for me to relearn the material. 100%. And then when I come here and I'm teaching it, I'm learning it again, right? I'm teaching.
That's right. That's absolutely right. So that was awesome.
Thank you,
cups are filled. Cups are happy. So let's move on to what's brewing.
What's brewing? Lots brewing. I think I sent Amir like 20 text messages this week on what's brewing.
Good stuff is coming.
Or what?
I'll try to cover a few while you're looking a few of them up.
Go ahead.
Really interesting. Week or so ago, there's these massive wildfires that occurred in Greece, and immediately the media went and said this is caused by climate change. Immediately, global warming, climate change. Immediately, the Greek authorities immediately came out and put a stop to it and said these were arsonists. There were multiple collaborated arsonists that did this, and literally, Wikipedia was holding on to it until there was so much force that it turned it around. So this is really cool because there's momentum starting to come within all different directions of people being courageous, people using their warrior energy and standing up for the truth. And this momentum is really growing in humanity. It is a tidal wave that is coming, and it cannot be stopped. But you need to constantly be courageous within this. Feed that fire. You're not against anything. The only thing that you are quote unquote for is truth. That's it. There's nothing else that you need to do. You're not fighting lies. You're not hating the people who fabricated lies. You are just standing for the truth. This is what happened. Period. Nothing else. Nothing more. But this is what it is, and I will not let you dictate the narrative anymore.
Yes.
That's all it is. Each one of us needs to stand up and not have a narrative just come, you need to be courageous.
Yeah, there was a video. I don't know if you're gonna bring this up. The video with the CNN director. Are you gonna talk about that or no?
Which one?
Okay, so if that doesn't ring a bell, then I'll talk about it. So who knows if it's confirmed or not? But there was a video, an underground video. It was a Project Veritas video.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you gonna bring it up?
No.
Okay, so
No.
there's a Project Veritas video, and they're interviewing the CNN director, or it's not really an interview. They're like having a beer, and the CNN director is like, our next big push is going to be climate change.
That's right.
We're going to push it down. It's what we're talking about all the time. He's like, we're going to show tons of videos of ice melting, and we're just going to cram it down everyone's throat. Climate change, climate change, climate change. That's our next big push. So there you go.
We had a podcast on this predictive programming. Just don't give space to this anymore. The reason that we bring this up is so that you have different outlets to see what's actually going on, stuff that's not being reported, all of these things that are happening. We brought it up last week that all of a sudden this crazy supposed fire goes into Maui and destroys everything, where again, cars melt and 2 feet away, a tree is still there. It's just not even possible. It's just not even possible. So again, see it for what it is. Know that these are scare tactics that are programmed and brought out. Couple other things. One that was really, really interesting. This kid this week put something on called the Gadsden flag patch. Gadsden. The Gadsden flag patch, which I didn't know what it was. I had to look up. Is the old American Revolution one where it's a snake that is standing up and it says, "Don't tread on me." You've seen that for sure. Yeah. So this kid, this 12-year-old kid who's wearing this on his backpack, who is probably the most clean-cut kid I've ever seen. Like, he's like in a dress shirt, and it's not even like, it's just like the cutest thing. They pulled him out and they said, you can't wear this patch because this patch is about slavery. There's slavery roots in this and you can't wear this. Why do I bring this up? It's not to take sides, but to see what they are causing. Don't tread on me means I stand for liberty. I stand for freedom. Don't get in the way of freedom is what this entire patch, and it was an American Revolutionary thing to have the British stay away. Don't tax us. This is not your land. We are free. Just stay away from us. So they take this kid out, and I thought how interesting it is that they're literally fighting what it is. And again, to remind you, they are starting to attack children more because the consciousness of adults has started to hit a breaking point where they do not stand for this stuff anymore. The irony is that the one thing people will stand for, one of two things, the other one I won't mention yet, one of two things that people will stand for unequivocally is children. So meaning fragmentation, is bringing on its own demise at a very, very accelerated pace. So don't worry about this stuff. This is great that this stuff is happening. I honestly, genuinely mean it. Because people become aware of it. And guess what starts to come? People start to look into the history of what is Don't Tread on Me? Yeah, I actually stand for that. I stand for that. Leave me alone. Just leave me alone. Who sang that song, by the way?
Leave me alone. Oh my God, I got to take that off the podcast. Why did I just do that?
And go and look at his death and all of the predictive programming and all of that was brought onto that guy. Listen to his lyrics, by the way, Michael Jackson.
11:11.
Is it? Mm-hmm. I love it. I'm going to bring up 4 things quickly about the vid. About the C vid. Really, really, really hilarious stuff that's going on. Fact checking from Reuters. Fact checking finding that most people that are dying from COVID-19 are vaccinated does not mean that vaccines don't work. I'll read that again. Listen to the irony of this.
Use code words, please.
Okay. Fact checking finding that most people that are dying from 19 are vaxxed does not mean that vaccines don't work.
Okay. So what do they do then?
So that most people who are dying have had this inoculation, but what does the definition of it mean? Doesn't it mean that you're well, let's just do that, right? It's all coming out. This one is really a little bit troubling. This just happened a couple days ago. The CDC has halted the collection of 19 vax adverse events from the reporting on the agency's VAERS program.
They stopped allowing for people to record any type of
halted.
No way.
They are not collecting information anymore. Just
What?
let that sink in. Let that
What does
sink
it say?
in.
Does it say why?
No. It's
Oh my
it's
God,
gone.
you're
You cannot,
kidding me.
Nope. From the VAERS website is
How do they have
VAERS
the right to do
is
that, dude?
vaccine adverse events collection. That is what
Unbelievable.
VAERS is. So that is gone now. It no longer exists.
What?
This is as of 3 days ago. The CDC has removed that. And again, look at these things. This has never occurred before, right? This is not something that has ever happened before. And now it is happening. It has been reported. It is from the CDC that VAERS is supposed to be something that you are supposed to be able to.
It says for the next rollout, they don't want to have the truth out there for the next rollout.
Oh, 100%. And that's where I'm. Yeah, I will.
For a link.
So
Unreal, man.
So that is gone. So
Ay,
VAERS
ay,
is
ay.
really, really interesting, and we'll see what happens. Another one.
Do you hear that? They cut off the ability for people to report adverse reactions to a drug they took.
Right. Well, that again, this just goes to the narrative of what happened, why did it get pushed, and now why do they not want to report it, and why don't they talk about it? All of those. It's just questioning, right?
Wow,
just
dude.
question
this
yourself.
Needs to be seen everywhere.
Just question
Good
it.
one. You brought a
That's
good
it.
one. That's a good one to bring. Oh boy.
Here's an interesting one. The UK has officially let out, and some of the stuff that you sent, this is not that one, but the UK has actually come out and revealed a whole lot of statistics very, very recently. Triple plus vaccinated individuals have accounted for 92% of deaths in 2022 in the UK.
Wow.
Triple
92%,
plus
92% of people who passed
92%.
were triple plus vaxxed.
This is really important. This is really important. Ask yourself this. Do you believe that 92% of the population is triple and plus? I would say it's not even close. So what does that mean? As you get it, you're more likely to die. Unequivocally.
Yeah.
That's just the data. That's the thing.
That's the problem. That's why they don't want people reporting stuff.
If it was 92% equivalent, meaning that 92% of the population it had the equivalency of being triple or more, then this data means nothing. But it's nowhere close to that. I'll let you find out what those numbers
Read
are.
the other one I sent you too.
I don't. I don't have it. Last one. This one is really cool. 2016, 2017 flu cases, 29 million. 17 to 18, 45 million. 18 to 19, 36 million. 19 to 20, 38 million. 2020 to 20. I laugh because it's so ridiculous.
I already know, man.
2020 to 2021, that season, do you want to guess what the drum roll of the flu numbers were?
Under 1,000. From 38,000 to?
From 38 million.
38 million. Okay.
29, 45, 36, 38 million.
So 38 million was the previous year.
Was the previous year.
38 million to?
1,500 in that year. Coincidentally.
So 37 million plus reduction in flu. Wow.
Correct.
So these medicines are working.
Coincidentally, there were 32 million cases of COVID that year.
Oh, I see. So there you go.
Coincidence.
There you go.
Everything is coincidental anyways in the universe, isn't it?
There you go.
That is it
All right, so I got
this
some,
week.
I got some.
Oh,
others.
you got a
I'll
couple.
just read a
Okay.
few here.
Yeah.
Breaking: Arizona, Arkansas, Florida, Georgia, Indiana, Michigan, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, New Hampshire, North Dakota, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas, and Virginia have all banned vaccine mandates from being passed.
Rock on. Momentum
Wow.
is there. It's rising.
But not California.
It's
Federal
rising.
court rules Gavin Newsom's school COVID shutdown order violated parents' rights. How about that? Federal court rules Gavin Newsom's school COVID shutdown order violated parents' rights.
Well, he was having huge dinners and galas and events that they
Yes.
were hosting.
Yeah, French
while
Laundry up
while
in Napa.
what do we I forgot what they call them, the peons or whatever you want to call them,
The staff.
the crap of society as they look at it. On everybody else couldn't do anything, but they were.
My favorite was a picture of it was either the mayor of Los Angeles or Gavin. They were and they were standing outside of the stadium, and they had no masks on, and they were holding like this, and they brought it up in a press conference and said, "Well, you had no mask on. You know what? I thought this was a situation." He said, "Well, I held my breath." He said, "I held my breath." That's why he took his mask off for the picture. He held his breath. I mean, come on.
It's ridiculous.
All right, here we go. More breaking. Vermont, South Carolina, Iowa, Arkansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Arizona, Utah have banned schools from mandating masks.
Well, look, there's momentum.
But no California.
It is so important. Again, don't look at anything with hatred. It is what it is. These things lead to these repercussions that is a further and accelerated growth of consciousness. There is no way. You know what I mean? Like it's just the balance of nature, and the balance of nature as the light grows, darkness just begins to fade. There is no option. You can't bring darkness to light. Once the light begins to shine further and further and further, darkness begins to go away. So,
all right, last one.
Be happy. We're all good.
Last one.
Yes.
This one's a little bit shocking.
Yeah.
Okay. The UK government has published official figures of deaths following CV vaxes, revealing, ready? 1 in every 482 vax people in England died within 1 month of the vax. 1 in 482 vax people in England died within 1 month of the vax.
That is an incredible percentage.
1 in 246 died within 60 days of the vax. And 1 in every 73 were dead by May 2022. 1 in every 73 people that got the jab were dead by May 2022. It's a genocide, folks.
Yeah.
That is rough.
Remember, as
That
you
is
move
rough.
forward, said it again. If something is free, if a product is free, you are the product.
Oh, but I also got a donut if I got it, and French fries.
That's right. That means you're a triple product. Always remember that. Again, hold space.
Oh, man.
This is not about being retroactively angry or all of that. It is being in a space of where you are aware, and that next time stuff like this occurs on any level, by the way,
don't fall for it.
Don't fall for it. Don't scapegoat. Don't say, I'm doing this for this other person. You don't need to do anything for anybody else. You have such huge responsibility because you are the universe. The only thing you need to take care of fully is your own integrity and light. Everything else is a story. Period. Hard stop.
Full stop.
Full stop.
All right, so we spill the beans?
Spill the beans.
Spill the beans, man.
I did this one last week for us, which was to be in the practice was to be in play and joy with everything that you're doing.
Or don't do it. Or don't do it.
Or don't do it. Yes.
Sorry, I was very aggressive with that pointing.
And this is something that was really just so fun because joy and play are like, they really are like two keys.
There's a song, Joy, pump it up, and play.
Yeah, that's right.
It's not play, it's pain, but we'll say play.
How was it for you? Did you have a good time?
So here's what I did. I was in situations where I was doing something, I started doing something, and I was doing it with a sour face. And I said, I have to, and that's why I pointed so bad and said, or don't do it.
You told me.
I said, either I got to stop doing this or I have to do it with joy and play. And it made me change what I was doing, how I was doing it. Because I was like, either I have to abandon this thing, but I have to do it. And I was like, either I'm going to abandon it or I have to start over and do it with joy and play. And it worked. It did work. And should have remembered it further in the week too, but I only remembered it for a few days. But I did it a few times and it worked.
Beautiful. I love. I had so much fun with this. This is one of those other ones I think I'm gonna incorporate. It's so fun, and it's amazing how quickly things shift, and it brings you to presence, and it automatically brings this like fluidity, like this actual like joy within it. And what we were talking about, what you covered in the Bhagavad Gita, you immediately release attachment right away, because you're like, all good. And the several times I did this, multiple times I was laughing because it kind of brings that energy out. Every single time, the universe would like unfold, and it's just so powerful. We'd love to hear if you had experiences on this, but I had an awesome week on this, and I love the fact that we do this. I love the fact that we do this every week. It's so good, and
it's great for us.
Yeah, I'll speak on both of our behalves. We really hope you also enjoy this and that you do this.
You do it, do it. It's really fun.
It's really
This is
fun.
where we're taking
it's
these
really fun.
The jhana yoga of this is taking the concepts that we're learning and applying them. Right? That's the key. We have to, that's the point, right? So we can bring it into our daily lives.
Yeah.
So when we get frustrated, when we have to do something while we're frustrated, we take a step back and say, I'm either going to do this with joy and play, or I'm not going to do it.
Yeah.
And if that means I'm not going to do it, I'm going to approach it again in a half hour when I'm ready.
Yeah.
Then so be it. But why go through it with that frustration when I can take a second back and become the observer again?
Yes.
See, that's the key with all these things, all this calm the water, this and that. What are we doing? We're becoming the observer again.
Yes.
We're going from being in the moment as this attached to everything to stepping outside and becoming unattached and being the observer. And these are different ways to play that game.
Right.
And it's if we keep doing it, eventually we can live in that place where we take meditation from our mat to the real world. We can take being the observer from when we meditate to actually, or the exercise to actually everything we do. And then we're living the Gita. Then we're unattached, right?
That's right.
So
that's right.
This week's task,
yes.
right? Perfect parlay into this week's task is to do things unattached to the outcome and unattached to the act itself.
Rock on.
Unattached to the outcome and unattached to the actor.
I love it.
All right, let's take an example.
I love it.
Let's give an example.
I would bring up work, because work is where this often happens. So if you are doing something with the idea that it's going to create a result, you're already out of it.
Right.
If you're just doing it for the joy of the actual act, of the participation within it, then you're there. Because then there is no future. You're just fully into that moment. You're just experiencing that thing as it is. There is no future. There is no past. You're just in the moment.
Perfect. Okay, guys. Please like, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for being here with us. May all be well. May all be happy. May all have inner peace, inner joy, inner love, inner happiness. May all receive the love and the light of the Creator right in their heart chakra.
Listen for the Gita. Listen for the Gita.
Thank you so much for being with us on The Conscious Cup today. Like, subscribe, and share.
Love you all. Have a beautiful week.
Arrivederci.